Hello, McKinley Bears, and welcome back to Kmbn. This is Kmbn 6.0. Can you believe it? This is our 6th episode. I'm amazed. Well, I know you guys have been working really hard over the last, 7 weeks, I think, of being in distance learning. And I know your teachers really appreciate that. I know I really appreciate it. Well, today's KMBN, we have all of our normal things. We have some Did You Know facts, which are really interesting. And then we'll have a moment with Mrs. Kavanaugh, and we'll have some TTK information for you, as well as a new trivia question, the last one, for at least for right now anyway. And then we will wrap up with a story. Thanks again for joining us. DYK, did you know? You know, I could probably make this section by itself go on for 10 minutes, but I won't do that. So here we go with our Did You Know. Did you know that the tallest known snowman was higher than a 12-story building? That is incredibly high. And almost 90% of snow is air. Oh my gosh. So that 12-story building was a lot of air, not just frozen water. The first bubble gum that was made in 1906, and it was called Blibber Blubber. I don't know that I would chew gum called Blibber Blubber. And did you know that alligators can live to be 80 years old? And our last fact for the Did You Know section, the largest working yo-yo was more than 10 feet tall and weighed almost 900 pounds, as much as a polar bear. And here is the answer to the TTK that everyone has been waiting for. Which teacher or teachers at McKinley School went to McKinley School as a child? Now, I should have phrased that question differently and said, which staff members went to McKinley School as a child? The answer is Mr. Smith, who now teaches transitional kindergarten, Miss Susan, who is one of our secretaries in the front office, and Mr. Joel, our custodian. Now, the other interesting fact about Mr. Joel is that he had Mrs. Lemoyne as a first grade teacher, and he had Mrs. Downey as a 5th grade teacher. Is that not amazing? Okay, so now to the TTK question for this week. The question is, in what year was most of the current McKinley School building built? Now, this is also going to be our last Trivia to Know question for the summer. We will have one more episode of KMBN for this school year, and we're hoping that when we start the new school year, we will have another set of KMBNs available for you. We're not sure as to the frequency. It probably won't be every week, but who knows? It could be every week for a while, and then we might switch to every month. We'll have to wait and see for the next school year. But remember, next week will be the last KMBN for this current school year. As we do every week, we touch on something that has to do with character. Because remember, McKinley Bears are trustworthy, they're respectful, they're responsible, they show fairness and caring towards each other, and have great citizenship. Please enjoy this week's A Moment with Mrs. Kavanaugh.
Hi, McKinley Bears. This is Mrs. Kavanaugh with another weekly challenge. This week, we are talking about gratitude. Gratitude is when you think of all of the things that you're grateful for. Did you know that practicing gratitude can help change your brain and can actually help you to feel happier? What a great thing. So this week, what I am challenging you to do is an ABC gratitude exercise. What this is when you go through the entire alphabet and you think of something that you are grateful for each letter. For example, A, I'm grateful for apples. B, I'm grateful for my brothers, and so on. See if you can actually think of something that you're grateful for every single letter of the alphabet. When you finish, I want you to stop and think about how you feel inside now that you've thought about all these wonderful things that you have to be grateful for. Have a wonderful week, everyone. I hope you try this exercise, and I hope that you find just how many wonderful things that you have to be grateful for. Bye-bye.
Hello, everyone. It's Mrs. Sherman. The story I'm going to read is one of my absolute favorites, and it has a very good lesson for us to remember. So enjoy the story and think about what it means to you when it's done. This is The Curvy Tree by Chris Colfer, illustrated by Brandon Dorman. Once upon a time, a little girl ran away from her village in tears. With nowhere to go and no one to talk to, she ran into the forest to be alone. She ran and ran until her feet grew tired, so she looked for a place to sit down. Most of the woods had been cleared out by loggers, but in the very center of all the stumps was a curvy tree, standing alone. He was different from all of the other trees she had ever seen. His roots were winding, and his trunk was curled, and his branches looped towards the sky. The little girl was so sad, she didn't even notice the strange tree. She sat under its shade and cried so much that a puddle of tears formed on the ground below her. The curvy tree was awoken from his afternoon nap by her cries. He was troubled to see such a small girl acting so sad, so he bent down to make sure she was all right. "Little girl, why are you crying?" the curvy tree asked. "You can talk?" the little girl said with a fright. The curvy tree nodded. "I can." "Do all trees talk?" she asked. "When they have something to say, I suppose," the curvy tree said. "We can talk, laugh, sing, and cry when we're feeling blue. That's why I'm wondering, what's troubling you?" "The other children in my village are very mean to me," the little girl said with a sniffle. "They make fun of my classes, and they tease me about my hair. They say that I talk funny, I'm not pretty, and I'm not smart." "Well, that's silly," the tree said. "I'm just a tree, and even I can see that isn't true. Those village children would be lucky to have a friend like you." "No matter how nice I am, they're never nice to me," the little girl said. "I don't think I'm ever going to find a friend." The curvy tree wiped her tears with his leaves. He thought about her troubles and was reminded of something that had happened a very long time ago. "May I tell you a story? I think it will make you feel better." "What story could make me feel better?" the little girl asked. "It's my story," the tree said. "When I was young, barely taller than a shrub, the other trees in the woods were very mean to me because I was different. They made fun of my winding roots, my curvy trunk, and my loopy branches. It made me sad, and I used to cry myself to sleep every night. Then, one day, loggers came to the forest and cut down all the trees, except for me. You see, they thought I was too curvy to be a chair, too twisty for a table, and too loopy for a house, so they left me all alone in the woods. Being different may have been difficult, but it's what saved me." "But didn't you get lonely without the other trees?" the little girl asked. "Oh, indeed I did," the tree said. "I thought I would be alone forever, but then I grew, and I grew, and then I grew some more. I grew so tall that I could see far into the distance, and it made me smile." "Why?" the little girl asked. "What did you see?" The curvy tree scooped up the little girl. He raised her high into the sky so she could see for herself. In the distance, All around them were dozens of curvy trees in other forests. They all waved and smiled at the little girl, and standing on their branches were other children. "Those children are all just like me," the little girl said with a smile. You may feel different and you may feel alone, but one day you'll grow and discover that there are many friends to be found if you look past the horizon, the tree said. "There's no reason to cry, for you see, in every forest there's a curvy tree." So you see, you don't need to be the same as everyone else. You don't need to even like the same things as even your best friend, because everyone is unique in their own way. There are many different things that make up you and your curvy tree. Think about what those things are. Thank you for listening, and remember, have a great week. Our last Kmbn for this school year will be next week.